Hi everyone, it's Lydia here at Lydia's Leisurely Stitching, and today is Wednesday, July 14th, 2021. Welcome to my 18th Flosstube video. It's been about 3 weeks since I last recorded, and so I'm just going to start diving right into the whips. So the first piece I have to show you today is Gingerbread Train from Cottage Needleworks, and there'll be a picture in here of what it'll look like when it's finished, and a picture of what it looked like last time. And here it is now. I'm stitching this on 16 count light blue Aida. And I've been working on this for Christmas in July or Jolly in July. And I've been trying to continue with my theme from last video, work on a small piece for 30 minutes a day. So since you've last seen this, I finished the train tracks and the pile of snow beneath them, and I started on the second train car, and the peppermint wheels still need the white filled in, and then there's some snow on top of the car. I'm really excited with the progress I've had on this one. I've worked on it for 7 days since you've seen it last. Trying to do 30 minutes a day, but some of those days I did an hour to catch up for some of the days that I didn't do. And so it's got about 4.5 hours of work in it since I last showed it to you. So my plan for this is to continue working on it for 30 minutes a day until the end of July, although honestly if it gets to the end of July and I'm not finished yet, I'll probably just keep going, because I think I could get this finished really soon. So there's that one, and then the next one is called There's Beauty in Simplicity, and it's by Cottage Garden Samplings, and we'll put in a picture of what it'll look like when it's finished and what it looked like last time. And this one is on 25 count pewter gray lugana, and I'm stitching it 1/1. So I worked on this one since my last video until the end of June, trying for 30 minutes a day again. I did 6 days, so that's probably about 3 hours. Although, honestly, now that I think about it, it's probably longer than that for those days. Because since you've seen it last, I've finished that giant leaf, and I've started working on the flower petals for the large daisy at the bottom of the design. And each of those petals takes me about 30 minutes to stitch. And that's 6 petals there, so that's at least 3 hours. So I guess 3 hours isn't too far off. It would be 3.5 to finish that leaf. And once I finish the Gingerbread Train, I'm going to switch back to this one for my daily 30 piece. And then we'll move on to my full coverage pieces. So this one is A Place of Her Own, and it's charted by Heaven and Earth Designs, and I'm stitching it on 18 count sand Aida. Again, it's kind of hard to get the full thing in at once because it's so large. But since you've seen it last, I'm working in the middle of the design. I've finished my 5th page for this year. I've been working on this 4th row of pages. I finished the 5th page. So I finished up the red blanket there that she's sitting on, and I've started working on her dress. And as you can see, the dress is going to cover about 3 or 4 pages on this row. That's a lot of dress. And I kind of have a hard time working on the dress because the light colors, they show the unevenness of the stitches a lot more than the dark colors do. But I was watching Lauren over at Flossabilities, and she mentioned how people call it bumpy, but she likes to think of it more as textured, and that part of the uniqueness of the piece is that you stitched it, and the texturing helps you realize, hey, this is a stitched piece that someone made by hand. And that really hit home and made me feel better about working on the light colors and how, imperfect my stitches are. They're not machine made, and that made me feel better. So since you've seen this, I've put in about 4,000 stitches, and I am 51.6% of the way through my yearly goal, and I am 56.2% done with the full piece. And I worked on it for 18 days. So I'd like to give a shout out to the Full Coverage Fanatics Tour de France. I used this for my Tour de France piece, and because of that, I've been trying to work on it for a minimum of 150 stitches each day. And it's really motivated me to try and work on stitching more days of the week and get in these 150 stitches. So I'm really pleased with the progress that I've made on those pieces. And so I got the idea to do the 30 minutes a day on my small pieces from the Daily 30 group. And it's a closed group, and I'm not a part of it, but I figure I can play along with what I've heard from other people talking about. And the 30 minutes a day has really been working well for me. And I've also heard people talk about the zombie run in that group. And the zombie run is where they're trying to work on their pieces and just get in 400 stitches a month. And I think that's a great idea. So for A Place of Her Own, my goal is to do 10 pages in a year. But for my other full coverage pieces, I just want to get a page done. And with my large format, they're like large print charts, the pages have 5,000 stitches in them, give or take a little bit. And so if I did 400 stitches a month, like in the zombie run, that would get me most of the way to my yearly goal. So I decided to, this month, try and catch up as if I had been doing the zombie run all year. And then, coincidentally, I heard Debbie over at Creatively Yours talking about how she and the other Stitchketeers are doing Full Coverage Madness July, and that's hashtag FC Madness July. And since I was already going to be working on all of my full coverage pieces this month to try to catch up with the zombie run, I figured, hey, I'll join in with that too. So I've had lots of reasons to work on my full coverage this month. So this one is Fantastic Lodge Mushroom, and it's also a Haid, and I'm doing it on 28 count mushroom lugana, and it's 1/1. And so I've been working, there's this large blank area here. I'm working on filling around this area, and then probably have a couple of hundred more stitches filling in that blank area there, and that'll get me to finish of page 2. So since you've seen this last, I've put in 530 stitches. Originally my goal for the year was to do 14,000 stitches, which with my progress so far this year, I'd be at 17.5% of that goal. And I think that I just need to accept that that's not going to happen and put it back down, my yearly goal, to 1 page or a little over 5,000 stitches, in which case this would be 46% of the way to my yearly goal. So I'm going to go with that. I've worked on this for 3 days since you last saw it, and in order to catch up to the zombie run, I would have needed 821 stitches this month, and with the 530 I've done, I would need 291 more this month, and then going forwards in August, I'll need 400 stitches in August to keep up with that. So I think the next time I show this to you, I will definitely have finished that second page, which feels good. And then the last whip I have to show you is, again, another Haid, and it's Coral City, and it is by Ciro Marchetti, and it's like a place of her own on 18 count sand aida. And that's everything I've done so far, if I want to get in those stragglers there. I'm working this year on the third page across the top row of pages, and I've put in 600 stitches since you last saw it, and I reached the far edge of the third page. So I am 39.7% of the way done with my yearly goal, and 4.75% of the way done with the full piece. And I've worked on it for 3 days. And again, to catch up with the zombie run, I needed 1,217 stitches this month, so I'll need to do another 600 stitches this month, and then going forward 400 stitches every month. So that is all of my whips, and I've really liked touching more of my whips, and that started because of the Daily 30 and the zombie run and the full coverage madness. That's really encouraged me to branch out and get more work done on more of my whips. I used to pretty much just focus on A Place of Her Own, and while I still spend a majority of my time working on that, it is nice to get some more time in on the other pieces so that I'm making steady progress. So then, stash acquisitions. I seem to have caught a purchasing bug at StitchCon because I don't usually buy things, but since StitchCon I've been buying stuff. And I've got 2 packages on the way from various places right now, but I do have 3 haids that I purchased in the recent 50% off sale. So the first one is Cathedral, and it's artwork by Jonathan Earl Bowser. I wanted this one since before I started A Place of Her Own. When I started A Place of Her Own, I was kind of torn between this one and that one. Obviously, A Place of Her Own won out, but I didn't like the idea that, this one might be retired someday and I would miss out on getting it. So I went ahead and got it while it was still available and 50% off. And then this other one, this is called Fairy Tales, and it's artwork by Lisa Parker. I really like the fairy and her little tree and her little home inside the tree, and the owl. I didn't realize it before I purchased it. This one is huge. It's 550 by 728, and so that's over 400,000 stitches, which makes it bigger than A Place of Her Own. And A Place of Her Own is like 3 feet by 4 feet when I finish it. And it's also over 40% 310. So I'm probably going to crop it, maybe down here, maybe crop a little bit off the side. I think this would be a great candidate for a mini, or I would love to see it if it was the size of like a story keep. But it's not, so I'll have to figure out how much of this I'm willing to stitch. Because I don't like the detail in a mini, but that's a lot of stitching for, I feel, a more simplistic piece than some of the other things that I'm stitching. And finally, this is Log Cabin Home by Dominic Davison. My family rents a cabin in the North Georgia mountains every year, and this cabin on the lake could have been inspired by one of the cabins that we rent. So I was really drawn to this one, and I like the mountain theme and feel, so I feel like it would be nice to show in my home. It's hard to see, but there's like a little cat down here, and it looks like my cat Speckles, who you can see in the intro video. I'm expecting this one to have a lot of confetti in the trees and the flowers, but it's so beautiful. I can't wait to stitch it. But I don't have any plans to start those right now. I think I have more than enough stitching on the go. So if you want to stick around for a life update, I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And if not, I'll see you later. So for the past 3 weeks, I've been fostering kittens for the local pound. They need families to socialize the kittens, and then once the kittens get up to weight and they're big enough to fix, the pound will fix them and then put them up for adoption. I got 2 kittens, and the little boy has already graduated and been put up for adoption, but I still have a little girl kitten. And I'm going to put in a picture here of her helping with my stitching. And so that's definitely had an impact on the amount of stitching I can do. But I'm still really happy with the progress I've made in the past month. I didn't get any stitching in on July 4th because we were celebrating. Last weekend I went tubing, which is so much fun. And then on Sunday my family went and did an escape room. That is maybe the 6th or 7th escape room I've done, and the 3rd or 4th I've done with my family, and we've always escaped. And so it's kind of something fun, like puzzles and interacting for my kind of nerdy family, and I really enjoyed getting to see them. This upcoming weekend, I'm going to go back to my hometown for a camp meeting. It's kind of like a religious revival, but there is a lot of family and friends and people that are not family, but that I consider family, that I only get to see once a year down there, so I'm really looking forward to see them. And then at the end of the month, I'm going to go to Savannah to visit family down there, and again, I'm looking forward to that. And finally, I think I really enjoy this filming in the middle of the month. It takes me a little bit of time to get my plans together and get them solidified. So I feel like if I film at the beginning of the month, I'm still not quite sure like what's going to stick and what am I actually going to be participating in terms of like challenges and online events and things like that. So I like in the middle of the month, I've already figured it out. I'm rolling. I have some progress to show, but there's still more progress upcoming. So I'm planning on filming again in the middle of August. Maybe look for it on the 14th or the 21st. But my dad is retiring in August, and it'll probably be around one of those days. So I might film on the 14th if he's going to be having a party on the 21st, or I might film on the 21st if he's filming on the 14th. I don't quite know yet. But yeah, so I will look forward to coming back in a month and talking to you again. Thanks so much for spending your time with me. I really enjoy getting to share my projects with you, and I hope to have you come back again soon. Okay, bye guys.